students in England, in the US, and for me the difference between a 19-year-old in Sri Lanka and a 19-year-old in the UK now is so different. 20 years ago, our guys were so much better than the guys coming out of those universities. But now, those education systems have evolved 3 or 4 times and they made it better. And these kids have the ability to problem solve. When you're given, they are more goal-oriented rather than how you get to that point. Whereas in Sri Lanka, everybody is concerned about how you get there, not the final outcome. And that's a big problem. But of course, there's a light at the end of the tunnel now. There's so much resources on the internet now that you can really learn everything that you need now without even going to school. So we really have to teach our kids to be more independent, not rely on our system, because that's not going to change for a long time. It's going to take a good 10-15 years to do education reform, and that could be too late. So we really have to teach these guys how to think of a better way to sell.
What we like. So I think, I hope it will happen in the future. Maybe all of us need to participate more about it. And but then other side is, I don't think you can expect a university or someone to teach you that. You can learn it. As he said, there are enough resources available for you to learn. Or even if you look at the university system, you come into a class and learn something, that's only 1% of it. But there are enough things that you can learn in the university outside the lecture hall. The experience that you get. So those are the things that will matter. But I agree, we have not done enough and all of us are responsible for it partly. And on the other side of it, if you look at the rest of the world, they have gone far away. I was with my sister's small kid in Australia, and his maths is absolutely reversed, right? He can't remember numbers and all that. So I met this school teacher. School teacher said, who happens to be one of my old friends, he said, "Maja muta maths තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒකෙන් අපි මුට maths කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ අද ඉඳන්. මුට arts කරන්න දෙන්න." ගණන් ගන්න ඉන්න ගණන් අඩු ඉඳලා ලංකාවේ ගණන් වල එක්කෙනෙක් හම්බුනොත් කන්න කලින් ගණන් කෑවට පස්සේ ගණන් උදේට දවල් කරාට තව ගණන් දෙන එක නේද? So they look at what people are capable of. So we are not going there. But that's the government. So let's forget about the government part. We can do our part. I mean, we can learn it. It's an experience that we learn from rest of it. So the first question was just to add a little bit of, okay, what are the features of whether you're going to start a business or not. I mean, whether you are an entrepreneur or not, no one knows, right? It's not in the birth certificate saying that yes, you are and you are not. No. So you got to try. Keep trying. Well, absolutely, you should not sell all the assets and put it to your first business and realize that I am not and lose all the money. But start with something new. Start with something simple. And the life will tell you whether you are or not. And hopefully, if you are lucky, and if the world is lucky, you will come up with something great.
Compared to 20 years ago, I think there have been many new innovations, even in the university system. Say what is called quality assurance and things like that is addressing part of it. But the speed of approaching is not adequate. The speed, that's true. And it's a very complicated issue. And I believe that it should start at the very top. And for that, and you should have a clear, consistent policy going right along. And for that, I think, we definitely need a Sunduru Ajnadayaka. Till that happens.
This is right.
All what we discuss, and I really enjoy talking to people. I must say that I am almost out of bounds from Kalam University by saying this. Now this probably Jayawardenepura will also make me out of bounds. I must tell you my life story. I went to university and I had never seen a lecture theatre. In my 4 years of the law faculty, I had gone there for other things other than for studies. I never saw, and if at all, if there's a question in a question paper who the lecturer was, I would have known. So I could have easily got failed if they had that question as a number 1 question. What I'm trying to say, these universities, in my personal opinion, are not there for this job. I think this is for me as an extension of A-levels. And now the way I see it, when we were in the university, that is why the freedom we had, now the kids in these universities don't have, because you have to, what you call the attendance marking system, continuous assessment, and you have, I think, killed even the last bit of opportunities for them to be creative. Go to a corner, hug, go to a corner, and you know, I think universities are for that. My opinion, that is how I see the universities in the West, the kind of freedom that they give, and the dream was for me at that time to go to university, because we thought that by going to university you have freedom. In fact, we found our own freedom the way we wanted, and I was like a full-time, for 2 years I did full-time university politics, and that is how I am today in the advertising business. To be honest, I am in the advertising business because I did posters, and I was the best to date. I don't think most of these Peratugami, nobody can match my kind of posters. Really, I'm telling you the truth. So then I cut all the law lectures, and I went and listened to Professor Nalini Silva. Not many would agree with me, but I must say my total inspiration came from him. Today where I am, thanks to him. One thing I learned from him is this knowledge should not be only from the West. So there are other knowledge structures. So Chatuskotika Tarkya is what I learned from him, and to date I applied at my advertising agency. That's why I said I made money by saying I created that agency with my friend and said we don't do multinational advertising. Only local advertising, he knows that's how we do. So we immediately differentiated our product from the rest of the agencies. Then if you look at there, the content what we say is up in there to we are going that journey because of that thinking. I'm saying if I went to the law faculty lectures and I listened to them, the lecturers, probably I would have ended up, if I got even if I got a first class, I would have been a lecturer in the university, again by heart, telling children to by heart my notes, and answer the questions the way I have told them to, and I will be creating so many useless people. So I think the change is here, change is right here, and I mean today I know that the universities have the students issues, all that. I myself was locked up and I was remanded. I fought with GL Theories, and he didn't talk to me for 20 odd years, and I was not a very popular guy. But that freedom I don't see now in the universities for some reason. When there is no freedom, there is no thinking, there is no innovation. In my office of CSC, they call me by my first name. There is no hierarchy. We have taken all that crap out. So anybody can come up with an idea. So this is where the money is. This is where the wealth is. And this is where the ideas are. That is why country is the problem. I think largely this education system, including the universities of today. I understand the practical problems. You have to keep them in the classes so that they will not go and do demonstrations and go to what place, and I understand that you have to have systems to control them. But probably you all will agree that you have studied in foreign universities. There is no gap between the lecturers and the students. They meet students at home, pubs, clubs, brothels, wherever. So, right? So, I mean, we create this gap, and we have this lecturer, then there is a student, I think there is opportunity here, right here. I think
we can start change immediately. In ourselves, like
this is what we do now.
we
Life
can start to be different.
Change is here, right here. You change, I change, we change, and it's changed.
On artificial intelligence, according to your lecture and what is happening in the world, the artificial intelligence is leading the world, but it targets on the service sector mainly. How that technology merge or integrate with the production sector?
It's cognitive and not cognitive jobs. Stuff you use your brain and stuff which are, and then the other stuff is what's called manual and repetitive jobs. So, and if you take those 4 areas, you can cluster any job that's there in the world into one of those 4 categories. So if you look at manual jobs, that's already being automated. Any sort of manual job you can do with a robot. Any sort of manual repetitive job, even easier. So those are food sector workers, factory workers, things like that. But then now, because of what's happening with there's an area of artificial intelligence is getting a lot of this thing called reinforcement learning, where there is actually so always the problem with AI was that you had to have training data to train an artificial intelligence. But now that's no longer the case. With this reinforcement learning, you can actually train an AI with no data. So I'll just give you an example. There's a game in the world there's a game played in Japan and Korea called Go. It's about a 4,000-year-old game. It's apparently the hardest board game in the world. If you go back 4,000 years, Confucius, he wrote down 3 aspects that make a learned man, and one of them was playing Go. 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago. And Go is so complicated that the number of moves in a Go game is more than the amount of atoms in the whole universe. Right? So you can't actually build a computation. It's too large, you'll need a huge supercomputer. So in the field of computer science, I thought that we'll never be able to build a program to play Go. But then about 4 years ago, there was this company called DeepMind. They built a program called AlphaGo, and really they trained this on not Go, but they just got the game to play itself. They got the game to play itself 1 million times, 1 trillion times. And then you won't believe, they first played the champion of Europe and he won. AlphaGo beat him. And then they played the #1 AlphaGo player in the world. It's this guy called Lee Sedol. He's supposed to be the best Go player in the last 1,000 years or something. AlphaGo beat this guy 4-1. And this was a system which wasn't programmed. The system figured out how to do it on its own. And then AlphaGo played the 60 best players of Go in the world, and AlphaGo beat them 60-0. So this just shows that, and this was a task people thought was hard because it was cognitive. People had to think, people had to strategize and things like that. But AlphaGo just destroyed every single Go player in the world. So the answer to your question is, it's not only that stuff that's happening now. Everything from medicine to engineering to law work, a lot of legal work is now happening with AI. A lot of the preparation work, case preparation work that's done by clerks and stuff is all being done by AI now. So the world is really changing. Just about anything that can be done by humans now, there will be an AI. So there's this big fund set up 3 years ago. You may have heard of this company called SoftBank. There's Masa-san, he's the guy who runs that. He's just set up a fund of $120 billion. It's called the Vision Fund. And his whole idea is that anything that humans do now, in the next 50 years, there's going to be an AI which can do it better. Anything from medicine to marketing to whatever. And so he's basically invested $120 billion in funding only these technologies. I mean, $120 billion is more than Sri Lanka's GDP, right? So basically what I'm saying is, in the next 50 years, you're just going to see everything changing, and human beings, people, we'll have to change. We'll have to learn how to complement it and do it better.
In defining an organization's culture. So things like manipulation and cooptation have become a common sense in today's organization's politics. So sir, when you implement these politics of change, or when you take decisions, how do you beat corruption? Because power, we know, is seductive, and what comes along with that power is corruption. So sir, how do you beat this corruption? How do you shield yourself against it, and what else do you do about that?
So partly, everyone wants to be the best, everyone wants to have the ownership for the things that are going right. But then the advantage is also the same, and disadvantage is that, right, people will try to compete with each other. Advantage is, in every human being, every manager, there's someone who wants to do best and come out. So you got to find a way to get that part out and balance out the differences between these individuals that you have. So I think that is what if you look at the difference between a leader and manager, that's what we say. You have a team, there will be conflict between them. Your game is to settle it down as much as possible, the togetherness that we talked about, and try to get that person inside your team who wants to be the best in the world. And if you get that, that will be the winning formula.
Maybe Dr. Lasantha has something to advise the company. How do you inculcate this togetherness in your team?
I think it's about the common goal. Because our common goal is making someone happy. So if it adds, if we work around that common goal, there are politics, but those become secondary.
Unpresent political environment in country currently, we are passing very bad situation, and how your organizations are facing those problems, and what are the solutions? Have that day-to-day plans only as a how this kind of problems you can solve.
For exports. Even I think tourism, there will be benefits because I don't know.
Don't get together, leaving all these differences aside, and මේ generation එකේවත් අපි මේක කරේ නැත්තම් මම හිතන්නේ මේක බැලු බැලමටම පේනවා මේ අවසානයේ ආගාදයට යන ගමනක් කියලා. We all look at it very selfishly, how it will impact me or you individually. I don't think we can anymore look at this issue, the macro issue like that. I think we have to keep all our differences aside, and we have to be a creative nation. We have to move forward. There's so much opportunities. The world is moving very fast. I think we are going backwards. We just cannot, because we should not, especially now that we are sitting in this great university. I think these are the places where these ideas can come. And සමාජගත කරන්න පුළුවන් තැන් මේවා. මේ මම හිතන්නේ අවස්ථාව උදාහරණ දෙවි කියලා විශ්වාස කරනවා මේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය. That is all what I want to say from my end. I don't know whether Lasantha want to add something happier than what I am saying.
The one thing I want to add, since he wanted to make a comment, any profession, or businessman, I see I'm sitting in both sides of the table. I've been an entrepreneur, I've been a medical specialist. I see a lot of successful people in their maybe 40s, maybe 30s, maybe 50s, 60s coming and saying that we focus too much on this, we focus too much on the business, or we focus too much on the career, and we lost the health and we lost the family. So I think work-life balance is very important. So this is another small message I want to give you. Without that, the balance between work, family, and your health,
5 years time, 10 years time, 15 years time, more often than not, you're not going to do that. It doesn't mean that you make a plan and then you don't change that for the rest of your life. I change plans sometimes every half an hour. But any given time, if you ask me at any time, I'll tell you where I want to be in 5 years time, where I want to be in 10 years time. And that's very important. That gives you something. Instead of worrying about the details, you're more worried about the larger goals that you're trying to achieve. And that's not only career, it's how it all comes together. Your family, your job, it's just a general happiness of how your life, and you got to have that vision on where you want to be, and then you can get there, right?
Since the topic has now gone from politics to happiness, so let me comment about the happiness part of it. Just one do something and achieve it and say we've done it and then be happy, it doesn't work. The world will not work like that. Happiness comes first. If you are happy, then you will be able to achieve it. A simple example, you can't get the degree first class and be happy, you can't. If you are happy now, you are doing the degree happily, you will get the first class. Business, you can't make $1 million and be happy. If you are doing the business happily, you will make $1 million. So I think happiness is state of mind. It is what you believe it has nothing to do with what you have achieved, and it has nothing to do with the money that you make. The best example that I give is, I make more money than my driver, but it doesn't mean that I'm happier than my driver. I'm sure he's much happier than me. So what I'm going to say is it's a state of mind. It's a choice that you make. So let's choose to be happy. And politics, let's not go into that too much.
Well, yes, so we are right on time. So thank you all the distinguished guests for your valuable insights. I think it was a very fruitful session. We had a wonderful time here again. So I hand over to Gayani and Tarindu to go ahead with the session.
It is now our privilege to thank the co-founder and
Studies of University of Jayawardenepura, I extended wholehearted thanks to the honorable delegates. Thus, my sincere thanks goes to Dr. Lasantha Malavige, Dr. Ramesh Ranavana, Mr. Dilip Jayavira, and Mr. Chandra Gunawardana, who shared experience with us.